All right. So this is the day after Father's Day, and I'm gonna probably repeat many of the things I've said before. Just want to do a show because basically I went to bed early trying to re go over my schedule, and I ended up waking up and not being able to sleep. It's easier to get up than it is to go to sleep. And now I am feeling a little bit on the tired side. But some of the things that I kind of want to remember with regards to my father and dealing with conflict in any level is there are times when I was right, but I wasn't right because stating what I believed to be right was not necessarily um, effective. And I think that's the same thing with arguing with people online. Uh, you're not going to necessarily win a debate. You may be able to get a few jabs in there or digs, but that kind of competition doesn't really do any good. And, there's a lot of I gotchas and stuff like that they're just not effective. When people are caught up in their beliefs and their ideology, you're not going to convince them with your intellect. That's not going to happen. So I have to remember, for the most part, to kind of move on and not necessarily address the issue just because it's uh, it's counterproductive to do so. And for me, there are particularly things with my parents. I would have certainly have spent a lot less time arguing with them about the past and things that they could have done better with regards to raising me, and just enjoyed their company. Both my parents are deceased. Lost my mother at 41, and my father, I lost him. He died when I was 47, and kind of, I guess, puts things into perspective, and you realize how short life is. And I tend to remember more of the good times than the bad, and sometimes perhaps even abusive times that I had with my family, particularly with my father. Uh, Again, he took me to movies and made me have kind of a love for it when I was a child and as an adult. After the loss of my mother, I gotta say I don't enjoy things like I used to. Um, Movies, cinema. Uh, Occasionally I'll enjoy it, but for the most part, I don't get a lot of joy out of the things I used to. And maybe it's because I've gotten old and my diabetes might be getting the better of me. And also, like I said, I think the loss may kind of weigh heavy on me as well. So, yeah, the things I used to enjoy as as a child and as a young and even middle-aged man, I don't really. enjoy as much anymore, just because I guess, there was always that uh, safety of your parents being around. And for me, there was just, once that left me and that was no longer there, a part of, oh man, now I'm seeing, uh, here we go. Okay, so yeah, I have problems with connection, so that's a difficulty. But I think that problems with my parents. I mean, with the loss of my parents, that connection, uh, I guess it affected me to a degree, and the things that I used to enjoy, don't enjoy anymore. But I also don't enjoy eating like I used to, just because of my diabetes, and I used to really get a joy out of food, but now that's not necessarily as enjoyable, and all other activities as well are certainly not as enjoyable as I've gotten older. And I enjoy certain forms of intellectual pursuit, and certain things online. They get my dander up. They make me really angry, and I want to. I get the urge, like when I hear something so like stupid and arrogant, I want to be able to vent my frustration out at them. Now, I know that this is not logical or reasonable, but it is still a desire nonetheless. And I have a desire at times to go online and, to a degree, go to battle and go to war, intellectual war with people that I find to be very hostile and very hypocritical. The one thing from my parents that I gain that really does bother me, and maybe it bothers other people, is hypocrisy still bothers me. Our inconsistency bothers me. And there are certain things, certain beliefs that people have online that are that I see as morally inconsistent, and I want to give them my 2 cents. And that's an emotional response. It's not intellectual. And I know that it's not best, but there are times when I still do it. It's kind of like, for me, eating sugar, as much as I used to, but there are very few times where I do it, and that's one of the things that I'm working on, is overeating. Just as I control my eating habits, I need to want to control my online habits too, and use it as a tool for more healthy dialogue. Just as I want to, I want to, like, have my food as something that nourishes me, uh, instead of something that just, feels good, but in the end won't nourish you, and it makes you feel worse. Particularly with me, with my diabetes, uh, the kinds of dialogue I get into with certain people are not nourishing. I gain nothing from it. It's really, really kind of negative to a degree. Um, but it's still there, and I still have um, I still have anger in certain extents. Uh, Certain individuals who've done things online and harmed people, there's a part of me that would like to see them punished, because I think that they've punished people unjustly. But for the most part, people with opinions and stuff, I don't know if I have, or I should have, the types of views that I do. But again, I feel that there's a lot of inconsistency and inconsistent morality with a lot of people out there. And I found that with my father in particular. He talked a good game, and he was inspired by the movies. But movies are not necessarily real life, and human beings are far more flawed than than our cinematic heroes. And I'll go perhaps into that a little bit further at another time. But I just wanted to kind of get things off my chest and just a little bit of a rant. Hopefully, people maybe gain something from it. If they do, they do. If they don't, well, they don't. Anyway, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thank you for listening.